When was the last time you made a Mii? Most people assume these guys have been MIA since the Wii U, so their answer might actually be sometime in 2017. But you can access a Nintendo Switch Mii Maker down in system settings, all while making your own icon for your Nintendo Switch. Nice set is here, I guess, but burying what used to be one of the most iconic parts of a Nintendo system so deep within the operating system of the Switch just makes me mourn the Mii Channel of old. Let's take a trip all the way through time and check out the Mii Makers of every Nintendo system since the Wii, watch a rise and fall in real time, and judge if there's any way back for Miis in Nintendo's future. Because God knows everyone watching this wants my answer to be yes. You couldn't physically run away from Miis in 2006.
We would like to play.
When the Wii launched in most territories during December of that same year, not only did it come pre-installed with a mysterious software known as the Mii Channel, but various games released around and shortly after launch were heavily reliant on Miis, which made sense considering it was the Wii's debut and you kind of had to force this branding onto people to drill it into their head. But pretty soon, once they'd run out of things to do with the Wii's launch lineup, people moved on to the pre-installed software in their Wiis, and within about 16.32 seconds, we had a Peter Griffin.
People realised just how fun it was to create Miis. Miis for immediate family members, Miis for fictional characters, Miis for burgers. There's a burger Mii. This is low-key iconic and you could do all of this on the Wii's Mii Maker.
This all makes sense when you remember that the Mii Channel is essentially a Wii Remote tutorial as a caricature creator. It's not about creating the most accurate Mii at all, because do we look like twins? It's about exaggerating features and creating something that immediately registers as that character, or Slippery Uncle Alan, or Chris Griffin. Yeah, okay, people make a lot of Family Guy characters. What do you want me to do about it? They're all quite cute, actually. Probably because Miis are based off Kokeshi, a wooden Japanese doll dating back hundreds of years, and oh, wow, that is an interesting Wikipedia paragraph. The point is, Miis are simple, doll-like characters you can customize to create a variety of cartoon versions of anyone and, to an extent, anything. So, how do you actually do this? Your first order of business is to choose a gender, then tend to your headache and move into the full suite. We start off with head shape, but you can clearly see more labeled for hair, eyebrows, eyes, nose, everything you need to create a recognizable family member, along with sub-menus to add even more features to customize. This is like a super specific niche complaint, but I always found it weird that this isn't treated as a one after the other kind of menu. Like, we start off in menu 3 with the head shape and skin color options, but we'd have to move backwards to menu 1 and menu 2 to handle height and metadata, even though I always do those last after I get done customizing the mouth and glasses. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, I was just wondering.
Overall, the whole suite is just ridiculously easy to use. It's literally pointing and clicking at what you want. There's a lot of beauty in the ingenuity of the Mii Channel because essentially it's a one-button game. However, I think the simplicity of it can hold it back slightly, and maybe this is just 2020 hindsight, but comparing it to the Mii Makers on the 3DS and the Wii U, it just feels like it's missing some content compared to them.
And don't get me twisted, I still love the original Mii Channel. It's a great tool and an amazing foundation for future Mii Maker apps Nintendo developed, but I'm tapping through here for some hair options I thought would be considered essential, and I can't find them. Can you tell I'm bitter about not having my go-to hair on the Wii? Look, I wanted at least one piece of criticism here. At least it's sort of valid. Leave me alone. I just can't hate this rendition of the Mii Maker. Not ever. It's too iconic, too natural to create Miis with, and it has the coolest little niche features built in. Now, I never used these when I was growing up, and I don't really know why, actually. This is really sweet, but the Mii Channel has two pretty unique features: the Mii Parade and placing Miis in your Wii Remote. The former almost acts like an overflow bin for Miis. Since there's a hard limit of 100 in the Mii Channel, any Mii you deem less important, Slippery Uncle Alan, can simply be thrown into the Mii Parade, where he'll march on forever until his body is required again. The only downside is the Mii's metadata gets expunged like a really bad entry on the SCP wiki. No birthday, no creator name, or save data, but if you just need somewhere to house designs, not terrible. And plus, if you encounter a Mii with mingling set to on, they can join your Mii Parade and be kidnapped to join your own plaza. I would demonstrate for you, but yeah, this is old hat.
And you can add Miis into a Wii Remote. It might seem like a daft idea at first. Slippery Uncle Alan's in here, by the way. But if you're around a friend's house and you just want to drag and drop your Mii onto their system to play with, you can do that and it works perfectly. So decent idea.
You can store up to 10 Miis on one Wii remote, and strangely, this whole ordeal reminds me of what Amiibos would sort of become. Reading and writing user data using a physical device is sort of the whole point of the Toys to Life genre, but Amiibos can actually do this by registering an owner's Mii to the figure, so this feature lives on. It's also the only way to transfer Miis from the 3DS and Wii U to the Switch, but we'll get to that much later on. Ultimately, the Mii Channel is probably the best introduction you can get for a Wii remote outside of the first batch of Wii titles. It's fun to make Miis solo, with a group, you can take them for walks. Did Nintendo peak early here? Or is the 3DS Mii Maker going to give them a run for their money?
No.
With the absolutely jaw-dropping success the Miis were seeing across games like Wii Fit, Wii Play, and Wii Sports, it was a no-brainer to add Mii creation to the 3DS, bringing these little creatures to a handheld console for the first time ever.
Now, hold on just a minute. This wasn't the first time Miis had featured on a handheld, though the first time was a pretty niche appearance by all accounts. Personal Trainer Walking and Tomodachi Collection, the prequel to Tomodachi Life on the 3DS, released on the DS and had their own inbuilt Mii Makers, and even that you import Miis from the Wii. There are only 5 total DS games of Mii support, but hey, it was support nonetheless.
Despite all of, that, this was the first handheld system to have a dedicated Mii Maker application. Not even the DSi got one when Nintendo massively upgraded the operating system compared to the regular DS. So this was a big deal regardless of Personal Trainer Walking's existence. And if we fire mine up, we can see it's more or less unchecked. What? Huh?
Okay, so I 100% legally imported my Mii Maker from my 3DS onto a 3DS emulator to get footage for this video. But then I had this weird blockhead glitch with all my Miis. I looked up a random YouTube tutorial to fix it, and it worked, but it also set my entire Mii Maker into Russian. But thankfully, this isn't my first time around the Mii Maker, so I know about what I'm doing. Just try and ignore it and move on.
The entire user experience, obviously, is modeled after the Mii Channel's UI, just reformatted to fit a 3DS screen, so it's now in vertical rather than horizontal. You can see your Mii on the top screen and make adjustments with the touchscreen below, and they did undo that stupid minor height, weight, and other data menus being behind the hair menu issue. So, see, it did matter after all. I wasn't complaining for nothing. There's been a few additions to hair types like I mentioned before, but the core concept is still the same. You're making small caricatures of people or characters you know to play as in various games. In fact, I'd argue the 3DS actually had more of a focus on Mii games than the Wii, and that does sound strange until you remember the primary focus of Wii Fit, Wii Sports, Wii Play, etc, etc, etc was to show off the Wii Remote. They did have a good few Mii features, as it was also a big part of the Wii experience, and the whole goal of the games was to introduce you to the Wii you just bought. But with the 3DS, we got games like Miitopia and Tomodachi Life that people still hold so dearly close to their heart to this day. Both games were quite literally centered around Miis and having a lot of Miis, and it's a real shame that at least one of those games seemingly won't make it to the Switch in any capacity. The 3DS was also born in a time when Nintendo were fully locked into their random cameras era. Everything they touched had to have a camera and some kind of camera feature on it, with the Mii Maker letting you take a picture of yourself to create a Mii out of. No, it doesn't work very well. This is using a 2011 front-facing camera created by Nintendo, but the rear cameras were used for scanning Mii QR codes for easier distribution. This may as well have been the invention of penicillin for Miis. It's ridiculously easy to just download the entire Family Guy cast for your Tomodachi Life island instead of recreating them all by hand. And on top of all of that, you can locally connect your 3DS to either another 3DS or a Wii to transfer your Miis to and from each system. It's easier than ever to send and receive Miis even without features like the Mii Parade or placing Miis in Wii remotes.
You know, initially, when I compared the 3DS Mii Maker to the Wii's Mii Channel, it almost felt a bit lacking. Like, sure, it had a few new hairstyles and more content, but in terms of unique features and draws, it just kind of felt lacking. But now I've taken a step back and actually examined this Mii Maker. I think it's the best way Nintendo could have followed up the Wii's Mii Channel. It's got everything you need to create on the go and even more ways to distribute your creations, locally and online.
Is it wrong to call a Mii Maker underrated? I don't know. I just didn't expect this rendition to capture me as much as it did, but truthfully, I think this is a worthy successor to the Mii Channel. It might be missing a little bit of a charm the Mii Channel carried, but in terms of design options, features, sharing, I have to retract my previous no and move on to the Wii U's Mii Maker. The Wii U's Mii Maker, oh wait, hang on, we're already in it? If you're setting up a Nintendo Network ID, the system setup kind of forces you to create a Mii to represent your account, so it's a good chance to skip all the usual moaning and groaning surrounding the Wii U you've probably heard a million times before this video and jump straight into discussing the application. One important note surrounding the whole presentation of the Mii Maker is how it's all done on the gamepad. This grinds my gears. Look, I understand what they were going for. Nintendo wanted to create a shared experience where one person edits on the gamepad and everyone else can give feedback on their creation by looking at the TV. It's the whole asymmetrical vibe of a Wii U, but you could just do that with the Wii remotes on the regular Mii Channel anyways, and I know that well because I've done that in real life on more than one occasion. And not to mention, if your gamepad suddenly dies, you can't use the Mii Maker. Hell, you can't use half the Wii U's operating system because of the way it's designed. God, I really do hate this console sometimes. I really do. It's honestly knocking down this Mii Maker a good few points, which is a shame because in every other aspect,
I mean, it's okay.
in terms of UI and layout, this is obviously a lot more reminiscent of the Mii Channel from the Wii, just a HD updated version, obviously. It looks fine, we keep the same design options from the 3DS, it's hitting the minimum new console Mii Maker requirements, but not doing much more than that. Again, it's clunky making a Mii on the gamepad and not really being able to use the TV at all when you're just playing solo, though because of the touchscreen on the gamepad, we do get these nice sliders to fine-tune facial features with instead of just having buttons, which I actually really like. Sliders are cool, it makes me feel like I'm dragging that spot where it needs to be as opposed to just mashing a button hoping it lands around where I want it, though the buttons are still there and perfectly usable, a complete best of both worlds situation. We also have a huge boost to the maximum amount of Miis, going from the 100 plus your Mii parade on the Wii, a hard limit of 100 on the 3DS, all the way to 3,000 on the Wii U, which is insane. I didn't think there were that many Family Guy cast members, but what do you know? Seth does it again.
I'm saying things that the Wii U's Mii Maker is doing right, but it doesn't feel like we're really concretely building upon what the Wii Mii Channel did. It's just optimizing it further. And that's not a bad thing, but the Mii Parade is still MIA. You still can't directly transfer Miis off of your Wii Remote to the Wii U's Mii Maker, and it's taken the shitty little camera feature that the 3DS Mii Maker had before the Wii U. That's all we've really got here.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend each Mii Maker needs a killer feature. That would be a little stupid. It's software. But I also can't sit here and pretend like the Wii's Mii Channel doesn't have charm and some actually cool ideas compared to the Wii U's Mii Maker. You could argue it succeeds as an introduction to the Wii U gamepad, much like how the Wii Channel was an introduction to the Wii Remote, but it's really just showing how clunky asymmetrical gaming can be. Nintendo had no idea what to put on the TV. Half the reason you're seeing any gameplay at all is because Nintendo just beamed the gamepad's output back to the TV. Like, what are we doing here? Give me Wii Remote controls if you're just gonna pull this. That's my gripe with the Mii Maker. It's trying so hard to prove the worth of a gamepad that it forgot to be a well-designed application on top of that. If your gamepad kicks the bucket, there's no way to make Miis on the Wii U. It's too dependent of a controller for little to no reason. That's an issue that plagues the entire console. Games like Nintendo Land and Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, this is my segue onto Mii games by the way, either put too much focus on a clunky asymmetrical experience or have little to no idea on how to utilize the gamepad. These games featured heavy Mii support alongside others on the system, but the Wii U bombing effectively sunk the Wii branding Nintendo has spent a console generation building up, and Mii's kind of got caught in the crossfire of it all. They were pushed far to the side in favour of starting fresh with a Nintendo Switch. Oh, right, Miitomo existed.
Okay, come sit down, let me tell you a story from 2015. The Wii U was drowning, Nintendo's profits were sinking, and they needed to show shareholders that they still meant business. So Nintendo announced a partnership with Dina, a mobile gaming company, to develop mobile games based on their IP.
It's also worth noting that Nintendo shoved an awkward, yes, we're still a console company, the NX is coming in 2017, right at the end, but let's focus on the first official Nintendo app to ever exist. Miitomo. Before you even ask me, yes, this came before Mario, yes, that's a little weird. Miitomo was almost like a very small scale and gimmicky social media featuring Miis. That's like the best way I can describe it. You answer a question, your friends can comment on it, you can dress your Mii up. It wasn't a very advanced app and I stopped using it within a month or so. And this was 2016 where I would easily spend days straight using Nintendo products, so that was a bold statement. I guess it's worth mentioning that it featured Miis. Technically the first Mii Maker to appear outside of a Nintendo console entirely. That's really something.
Basically, it was a really bad social media based off Tomodachi Life that had a 2-year lifespan and didn't really amount to much. Let's just move on to the Switch, please.
It's 2017, the Wii U has just fallen out of the sky and killed pretty much everything surrounding the Wii's branding in one swoop, and Mii's are kind of in purgatory. But you really want to port Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to the Switch, for good reason, and that needs Mii's for compatibility reasons, so fine, just shove it in system settings. I think it would be a little too far to describe a Mii Maker as disrespectful. But what the actual fuck are we doing here, Nintendo? Now referred to as just Mii, you can find the Switch's built-in Mii Maker sandwiched between the user and amiibo categories, which... Yeah, that sums up where Miis were really at in 2017. Nintendo kind of had to drag them along to keep compatibility with a lot of Wii U ports, but they were never in a million years going to make them front and center. Not after what just literally happened. You might think there's still hope as you load up the Mii menu, but no, not at all.
This is easily the coldest, most sterile Mii Maker we've received yet. I mean, the entire thing is laid out like a system settings menu. We used to be a proper country, for fuck's sake.
You can view your Mii list with a max count of 100 Miis. By the way, what the fuck? 100? We went from 100 on the Wii, 100 on the 3DS, 3,000 on the Wii U, now back to 100 on the Switch? It can't be a storage issue. The base 8GB Wii U can store 3,000 Miis. Why on earth would we regress this way? There's zero justifiable reason for it. And there's no music here at all, a completely empty canvas other than the sounds of your sticks moving through the creation GUI. Granted, this is more of a complaint with the Switch's operating system as a whole, but you could have given this menu music. The eShop could have had music. It's still a negative point, don't kid yourself. Moving forwards to actually creating a Miivo, every option you'd expect to be here is here, except for birthdays? And creators thinking about it. You can still select a favorite color and name, obviously, but assigning a unique creator for each Mii and choosing a birthday is just gone. I'm not losing sleep over it, but again, why even bother to remove this? One thing they did add though that I massively appreciate is a much broader selection of hair colors. Tomodachi Life and especially Miitopia were banging on the door with this, so I'm glad to see Nintendo move with the times and let my Mii have blue hair and pronouns.
It's a shame that Nintendo went woke and replaced gender selections with styles. You know what they say though, go woke, go broke.
We also have the ability to copy Miis from Amiibo now, which weirdly is the only way to transfer Miis from the Wii U and 3DS to Switch. Realistically, I do understand why Nintendo don't let Switches connect to their previous consoles because that era is more or less a dumpster fire and they were trying to move past it. But they also said in their own words that the Switch is a third pillar with the Wii U and 3DS. I know that's very obviously a safety net if the Switch flopped even harder, I'm not stupid, but come on! And then that's it. Nintendo for the next 4 or 5 years couldn't really touch Miis with a 10-foot pole. Except when they felt like it. Like, obviously the Wii U ports that already had Miis kept those features. Smash Ultimate brought back the Mii fighters, but they did quite literally bring back every fighter from the series. It wasn't like everyone is here except for you. We didn't invite you. Miis are in a super strange spot right now. Schrodinger's avatar, if you will. Nintendo both trusts them and doesn't trust them. Nintendo both supports them on Switch and doesn't. Are we ever going to get a Tomodachi Life 2 or a Miitopia 2 or hell, just a decent Mii Maker that doesn't look like a system settings page? I really hope the answer is yes. It would be a shame if Nintendo went through all this effort to recover the brand and separate it from the dumpster fire that effectively is the Wii branding nowadays, just to chuck them out for good on the next console. In fact, maybe this next console could give us a new golden era for Miis. With the extra power I assume it'll have, it could very easily house a brand new HD Mii Maker with actual charm, music, design philosophy. The possibilities are truly endless here. I'd like to see some sort of continuation of the Mii Parade too. Take what you learned from Miitopia and let us upload our Miis to some sort of online discovery page and download them there. Make it even easier for users to get new Miis onto their system and let us put Miis on the Joy-Cons. I'd argue it makes even more sense than being able to store a Mii in a Wii remote because of how easy it is to pair Joy-Cons with the Switch. Just put the ROM chip into the Joy-Cons, let us throw 10 Miis onto there. The point is, Miis are still loved by just about everyone I've encountered, and I think if Nintendo just gave them another chance in their new system, we'd get more iconic Miis, just like these ones. How is it, Family Guy? Again!